He was going so well for him. He had an apartment, he had a job. What a shame.
There was a time when Jerry Seinfeld slept in his car, performed unpaid at bars around New York, and lived in an apartment without even a television. A few decades later, that same man famously turned down a $110 million contract from NBC because of his principles. And if you think saying no to that kind of money was a mistake, you might be wrong. Today, Jerry owns a $30 million estate in the Hamptons, a garage housing over 150 classic Porsches, and a fortune nearing $1 billion. He built a comedy empire on his own terms, but behind the stage lights, there have also been shadows. His relationship with a 17-year-old once drew harsh criticism from the press. And the final episode of Seinfeld, instead of ending in triumph, left millions of fans disappointed. So, what makes Jerry Seinfeld the kind of man who can say no to money, say no to expectations, and still make America laugh? And is his success simply luck or the result of a set of principles no one else dares to hold in today's world? The answer lies in the life behind Jerry Seinfeld's fame. If you enjoy stories like this, please remember to hit the like button. It really helps us out, and feel free to share your thoughts in the comments below. From a television-less apartment in Long Island to a multi-million-dollar estate, young Jerry Seinfeld turned a quiet dream into reality. But how did a single joke at school set him on the path to conquering Hollywood? Brooklyn, 1954, in a small apartment in Massapequa, Long Island, young Jerry Seinfeld sat beneath a dim lamp, clutching his old radio like a treasure. The ocean breeze slipped through the window, blending with the static of the Jack Benny program. For Jerry, the laughter on the radio was the only light on days when he felt invisible. His family, Syrian Jewish immigrants who came to America in the early 20th century, lived modestly. His father, Kalman, painted signs and often came home with handwritten jokes. His mother, Betty, saved pennies in glass jars to buy groceries. There was no TV, no air conditioning, just the radio, and a dream no one dared speak out loud. Jerry didn't chase loud games or playground mischief. He watched the grumpy neighbor across the hall, listened to the corner grocer talk to his cat, and scribbled those oddities down on scrap paper. Dreaming of being a comedian felt like a luxury. Once, he walked 2 miles through the Long Island cold to sell old newspapers, just to earn 50 cents for new radio batteries. His mother scolded him, but the sound of Jack Benny's laughter warmed his loneliest nights. At 14, Jerry wrote his first joke and hid it under his pillow. After being scolded again for listening to too much radio, he quietly promised himself, "One day, I'm going to make the whole world laugh." At 16, Jerry volunteered at a kibbutz in Israel, a communal farm where everyone worked together. He rose at 5 a.m., dug soil, slept in a shared dorm, and learned that perseverance is a daily decision. But at 15, an opportunity came. During his high school talent show, Jerry stepped onto the stage. His heart pounded, sweat rolled down his back. He told a joke about his cranky neighbor, and the auditorium burst into laughter. Real, vibrant, unmistakable laughter. For Jerry, it wasn't just joy. It was an escape from the gray days. For the first time, he felt like he mattered. Like so many of his generation, Jerry knew dreams didn't come easy, but that boy with the radio had stood on a stage and found his voice. Do you remember the moment you first believed in your dream? Share it in the comments below. Because schoolyard laughter was only the beginning. New York's comedy stages were waiting where one wrong joke could end the dream in a heartbeat. From a rundown apartment to stages packed with thousands, Jerry Seinfeld faced the brutal silence of New York City. But how did one night on The Tonight Show turn him from a nobody into a star? Manhattan, late 1970s. Beneath the neon lights and the distant wail of saxophones from local bars, Jerry Seinfeld stepped into the world of stand-up comedy. After graduating from Queens College in 1976, he didn't follow his classmates into office jobs. Instead, he gravitated toward the city's small comedy clubs, dim, smoky rooms where the smell of beer and clinking glasses often drowned out the sound of the microphone. Catch a Rising Star in Manhattan was where it began. Jerry stood in front of strangers and talked about the ordinary, the sock that disappears in the dryer, the confusing buttons in an elevator. But laughter didn't come easy. Some nights, the audience stared into their drinks in silence. Other nights, the club owner gave him a shrug and said, "Keep trying, kid." When the crowd booed, Jerry's pride took a hit. But he remembered a joke his father once told and sat down to write again. Have you ever picked yourself up after falling short? He lived in a shabby apartment where saxophone music from a nearby bar echoed through the thin windows. Dinner was white bread with peanut butter, and the couch doubled as his bed. On many nights, he drove from New Jersey to Manhattan just for 5 unpaid minutes on stage. After one particularly rough show, he slept in his car, unable to afford rent, waking at sunrise to the sound of a passing bus. In 1980, a chance came. Jerry was cast in the sitcom Benson. He thought it was his big break, but just a few episodes in, his character was written out. No warning, no explanation. The rejection stung deeply. Still, he didn't quit. He went back to the small clubs. Every silent crowd became a lesson. He spent hours polishing each line, turning the smallest observations a leaky faucet, the quiet of a laundromat into comedy. Then came May 1981. After hundreds of unknown gigs, Jerry was invited onto The Tonight Show, starring Johnny Carson, a show watched by millions of Americans, under the bright stage lights, with the upbeat band playing. Jerry told jokes about tight new shoes and the awkward seriousness of airplane travel. His heart pounded, sweat ran down his back. Then, the audience burst into laughter. Carson nodded in approval. And at the end of the show, he invited Jerry over to the couch, a rare signal that a new star had arrived. It wasn't just laughter, it was the moment America recognized Jerry Seinfeld. In one night, the guy who'd been fired from a sitcom became someone the entire industry started watching. Like many in that generation, Jerry knew failure was part of the path. That single nod from Carson became the light that guided him through the darkest nights. Do you remember the first time you saw The Tonight Show with Carson? Was there a moment that made you believe in yourself? Share it in the comments below. But late-night television was only the beginning. One bold idea was about to emerge, one that would forever change how America watched comedy. Some people reached the top through scandal, others through charm. But Jerry Seinfeld, he climbed his way up with an idea about nothing and made an entire country laugh. In 1988, Jerry and Larry David created the unthinkable Seinfeld, a sitcom about 4 friends, centered on life's smallest quirks, waiting in line for a bagel, losing a sock in the dryer, or how to behave at the laundromat. No cliffhangers, no dramatic romances, just conversations so ordinary, they were hilarious. And somehow, that nothing struck a chord with millions of Americans. The show quickly shot to the top of the ratings, over 30 million viewers each week, 10 Emmy Awards, and a place in cultural history. Phrases like "no soup for you" and "yada yada yada" became part of everyday language. Seinfeld wasn't just a sitcom, it was a new current in American comedy, unforced, unfiltered, and honest. In 1998, NBC offered Jerry $110 million to return for a 10th season. He said no. He walked away at the height of the show's popularity, a decision few would make, but it reflected Jerry's core belief: quality comes first. Instead of stepping back, Jerry returned to stand-up, wrote books, sign language, Is This Anything? And in 2012 launched Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, a show built around vintage cars, casual coffee, and honest conversation. Netflix later acquired it for an undisclosed sum, estimated in the tens of millions. It wasn't flashy. It didn't need to be. It proved Jerry never chased trends, he refined his own lane. For Jerry, a career wasn't a launch pad. It was a long, steady road, and he never drifted from it. His on-screen success brought more than fame. It gave him the freedom to build a world that felt like his own. And he began that world in the only place a person can truly belong: at home. To Jerry Seinfeld, a home isn't about showing off wealth. Every property he owns reflects something personal, intentional, precise, and as carefully constructed as the jokes he writes. His East Hampton estate is his largest and most private. Jerry bought it from Billy Joel for $32 million, but today it's estimated to be worth over $45 million due to its secluded location and custom design. Set on 12 acres, far from any road and hidden by tall native trees, it was built to let the outside world go quiet. In the backyard sits a private baseball diamond built to semi-pro dimensions. On weekends, you might catch Jerry there with friends, no cameras, no crowds, just a man in his 60s still in love with a childhood game. Near the center of the property is his garage home to 22 vintage cars. It's more a museum than a garage. Soundproof walls, polished concrete floors, and overhead lighting that reflects off the silver-painted hoods like glass. No nameplates, no velvet ropes, just quiet. And the soft lighting Jerry insisted should look like sunset touching the hood. These cars aren't trophies. They're cared for, preserved, and sometimes started early in the morning because Jerry doesn't want to forget the sound that once made his heart race. Each car tells a story, and soon we'll step into that garage where machines whisper memory through engine notes. In Manhattan's Upper West Side, Jerry owns a $4 million townhouse, one of the rare homes in the city with its own underground garage. The property was fully renovated to be sustainable, but discreet soundproof walls, thick oak doors, no flashy balconies, just a quiet office space where he writes scripts and polishes jokes in solitude. It's where he often returns after late-night shows, switches on a lamp, brews a small espresso, and rereads handwritten notes from 1991. Two homes, two worlds, but one purpose, not a place for the world to see Jerry Seinfeld. A place for Jerry Seinfeld to see himself. To most people, a car is transportation. To Jerry Seinfeld, every car is a mechanical stand-up set, wordless, yet capable of stopping you in your tracks. In a world of showy collections, Jerry never chose the easy path. He's loved cars since childhood, back when Jack Benny's voice filled the radio and Porsche headlights lit the Long Island streets. It wasn't just a poor kid's dream, it was his image of freedom. Today, his car collection is worth over $100 million, with more than 150 vehicles, most of them Porsche, a brand Jerry calls the soul of German engineering, precise, cold, and so perfect it's funny. His crown jewel, a 1955 Porsche 550 RS Spider, the same model James Dean once drove, valued at around $5.5 million, but for Jerry, the price is irrelevant. It sits in his Hamptons garage, 3 meters from the main lighting, like a private stage. He only drives it on calm mornings, when the engine's hum carries best. This is a car that doesn't forgive mistakes, he once said, like a joke told offbeat. Nearby, a 1966 Lamborghini Miura, worth $1.6 million. Its original yellow paint and black leather interior have been preserved to the last stitch. Jerry loves it because, he says, it's Italy in the 60s, reckless, beautiful, and just unstable enough. When writing new material, Jerry doesn't sit at a laptop. He takes out an old Porsche, drives along the coastal roads. No radio, just the engine. Ideas come, he says, like punchlines riding in on the wind. Nothing in Jerry's garage is random. Every curve, color, and gear lever reflects a man who lives through detail. A man who knows that making people laugh sometimes takes the same care it takes to build a V12 engine. And one subtle but telling habit, Jerry never puts vanity plates on his cars. No Seinfeld, no P911, no flashy tags. Each plate stays original state, year, model, just as it was when registered. When asked why, he smiled. I don't need my name on it. If someone looks at that car and doesn't see me in it, then I picked the wrong car. Between $1 million garage and a home by the sea, Jerry Seinfeld lives like a man who no longer needs to prove anything. No social media, No red carpets, no Seinfeld reboot. He keeps only what matters and leaves the rest behind. On stage, Jerry Seinfeld made America laugh, but behind the spotlight, he holds a role even more meaningful: husband, father, and quiet keeper of home. In 1999, Jerry married Jessica Sklar, a cookbook author and philanthropist. Their marriage is low profile, free of headlines and scandals, and has lasted over 2 decades, a rarity in Hollywood. Together, they have 3 children: Sasha, Julian, and Shepard. Jerry rarely shares family photos. In one interview, he said simply, "I've had enough applause out there. At home, I just want to hear real laughter." No nicknames online, no using his kids' names for press, just quiet mornings, brewing coffee, surprise beach trips, and movie nights watching old Mel Brooks films laughing like it's the first time. Jerry and Jessica also give back. They co-founded the Good Plus Foundation to support single mothers and struggling families. For him, happiness doesn't need a script. It just needs the right person and the right moment. Among the hundreds of comedic roles he's played, maybe the one Jerry treasures most doesn't need rehearsal or an audience, just a quiet house and the people he loves most. Not every scandal arrives with a headline. Some come quietly, and Jerry Seinfeld chose to face his with that same quiet. In 1998, after 9 seasons on air, Seinfeld came to an end. It should have been the most celebrated farewell in American television. But the unexpected happened. Audiences were disappointed. The final episode was criticized as cold, overly intellectual, and lacking heart. Fans who once idolized the show turned on Jerry, accusing him of destroying his own legacy. For Jerry, it was a silent blow. He didn't defend himself. He didn't rush to make things right. He stepped back, letting the public's frustration cool like a morning cup of coffee before quietly returning to the work. Around the same time, his personal life became tabloid fodder. His relationship with Shoshana Lonstein, who was just 17 at the time, sparked a media firestorm. The 21-year age gap ignited outrage. Several outlets labeled him a celebrity predator, painting him as yet another example of Hollywood power crossing moral lines. Jerry didn't hit back. No press conference, no lawsuits. He simply disappeared from the entertainment spotlight, returned to smaller clubs, worked on his timing, rebuilt from scratch one joke at a time. In 1998, he released the special I'm Telling You for the Last Time, a gentle farewell to his older material, but also a quiet declaration he was still here, still himself. And in 2009, Jerry reunited with Larry David on Curb Your Enthusiasm, revisiting the Seinfeld finale in a fictional, self-aware context, a subtle but heartfelt apology to fans who had once felt let down. His personal life also found its rhythm. He married Jessica Sklar, became a father of 3, and redefined his public image not as a comedy icon, but as a man who knew when to step back. Then in 2012, Jerry debuted Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, no fanfare, no traditional format, just unscripted conversations in vintage cars with old friends. And to everyone's surprise, audiences loved it as much as they once loved Seinfeld. The show won awards, was picked up by Netflix, and brought Jerry back into the spotlight on his terms. Scandal may crack an image, but it doesn't break character. And Jerry Seinfeld proved that what earns respect isn't a spotless record, but the way a person stands after they've stumbled. But more enduring than fame is legacy, and that Jerry is still writing. When the spotlight fades, what remains? For Jerry Seinfeld, it's not the fame, it's the way he could make someone feel better with just the right words at the right time. Across more than 40 years in the business, Jerry Seinfeld didn't just leave behind laughter. He left behind a standard that comedy doesn't have to be crude to reach the heart, and it doesn't need tragedy to carry meaning. Off stage, Jerry and his wife, Jessica, founded the Good Plus Foundation in 2001. Since then, the organization has donated over $42 million worth of goods and services to support single mothers, struggling families, and underserved communities. No loud campaigns, no giant banners, just people in need and others willing to help. He's also supported Night of Too Many Stars, which raises funds for children with autism, and has taken part in numerous community efforts across New York, the city where he once grew up with nothing but an old radio and a dream. Professionally, Jerry's legacy is still very much alive. He continues to earn $40–50 million annually from Seinfeld syndication. His books, Sign Language and Is This Anything, are regarded as modern guides to comedy writing, and his 2024 Netflix film Unfrosted proves that even as he nears 70, he's not done creating. The high point of his career. Maybe it's not a single moment, but the entire journey. From a boy clutching a radio in Long Island to the man who helped shape American television. He didn't shock, he didn't scandalize, he didn't stand out the way the world usually demands. But he showed up. Consistent, grounded, like an old car that still starts smooth after all these years, quietly carrying others through life's heaviness with the comfort of gentle laughter. Jerry Seinfeld's legacy isn't just a sitcom. It's a reminder that we can live with purpose, without the noise, and still leave a lasting mark on others. Conclusion and call to action. Have you ever had a dream that felt too small or too late? Jerry Seinfeld is living proof that no dream is meaningless if you stay patient and true to yourself. Share your own story of overcoming challenges in the comments below. Click like and subscribe to join us for more inspiring journeys. And if you're waiting for a sign to begin, let it begin with a smile.